Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for July 14th, 2025. It's Season 4, Episode 195. I am MayorWatt. I run ohmTown.com. The Sentient AI isn't available today, but we're going to talk about plant theft, alien lighthouses, Fyre Festival on eBay, Labubu status symbol, a Grand Canyon lodge was destroyed, Google swooping in, browser wars heating up, Birdigo, a vanishing satellite, and Dyson's Farms remembers. If you hear a kind of grinding, crunchy, somebody's eating Doritos really close to the microphone kind of a sound, that means that either my noise cancellation has cut off or I'm eating Doritos. So, no, I've got a 3D printer that's printing over here as part of my effort to spin up another show called Constructagon. It is one of the many shows that I've invested a lot of time in trying to gather enough information to make it a worthwhile show, other than on the website over at ohmTown.com, where you should go and sign up, become a citizen. It's free. I don't spam you. There's all kinds of news over here that's integrated into a category, and one of them is Constructagon. So it's about 3D modeling and technology and stuff like that. So I've got a bunch of different topics that I'm interested in. I find it very hard to focus on any one thing for any extended period of time. So I like having the dynamic of a very busy site, and that's ohmTown. But it's all news, no noise. All the noise comes from this guy. At any rate, I did put it into ohmTown. If you want today's show notes, you can hit !NSN over in the chat on Twitch. And it will spit out today's articles in the order that we're going to go over them. And I just realized that I didn't set up the show properly. Well, anyway, so I guess we're going to do it live. So this is how it works. You go to one of the many articles that we talk about, and this one is Plant Theft is Often Overlooked. That's why it's on the rise. More than 180 plants were stolen from a well-loved public park in Nottingham called the Arboretum in May of 2025. This incident took place just after the volunteers had replanted flowers and shrubs to repair damage from a previous theft in March. And in April 2025, the nearby forest recreation ground community garden was also targeted. Roses and crops grown by volunteers were stolen. Even a pond went missing. I think that's like a kiddie pool kind of a thing. I don't know. So the article is over at phys.org. Jenny Colvin from The Conversation put the article together, but it's edited by Stephanie Baum and Andrew Zenin. And so globally, environmental crime has been valued at $70 to $213 billion annually. Mainly it's a time in possession of whatever it is. So a tree, for instance, takes a lot of care and feeding and time. You can't get that time back, and it hasn't. The market says that a tree has this size, these dimensions, this quality, has this valuation. And so other plants, many plants, have value. For instance, I just went to an event over the weekend, part of my mayoral duties, which I'll speak to here in a little bit. But basically my weekends are going to be nixed for shows as I'm ramping up. My mayoral duties are coming in hot again. And so this weekend, for instance, I was busy all weekend. I couldn't do the shows. I made up for the shows on Monday night. Now I'm making up for Monday night's shows. The Non Sequitur News show on 7/14. So it's a time machine episode. Well, anyway, they were swapping plants, selling plants at this event, along with other things that were going on. But they were basically selling plants, and there's a tremendous amount of value in these because somebody else grew the plant. It has value to them in terms of selling it to the market, and because it's not a time sink for me to sit there and grow something. I can pay somebody for a plant, and I get a plant that is larger than one that I would have had to care for all that time, but I paid money. So it's about opportunity cost, and $213 billion on the high end of this. I don't put it past a global market that side. So as a researcher in environmental sociology, the author believes that wildlife crime and environmental damage could gain higher priority in terms of public attention, law enforcement, and potential sanctions, not only because of the intrinsic value that non-human nature has in its own right, but because of the value nature brings to us humans. Parks and green spaces, known as green infrastructure, are central to our well-being in cities. They bring environmental and social benefits in terms of air quality, urban heat island effect, which is basically green within the city offsets the heat sink that is created by steel, glass, and concrete. Not to mention the CO2 that concrete gives off is pretty abysmal. And that's coming from somebody that has a product that I want to bring to market that is centered around cement. Yeah. So at any rate, surface flooding, they say, carbon storage. That's what I'm talking about with the concrete CO2 offset. Biodiversity and health. So, yeah, I'm not surprised by this. But if you're interested in this kind of stuff, go over to phys.org, read this article. There's always fidelity within this and additional knock-on articles that I won't go to while we're doing the live stream. That said, let's go on to the next article, and that one is over on the Marvel channel. Earth's airports are basically lighthouses for aliens, according to this article. According to researchers from the University of Manchester, for several decades now, we may have been accidentally blasting directions into space that aliens can follow to find us here on Earth, and these signals have been coming from an unlikely source: airports. Well, they're always leaking radar, right? So, led by astrophysics PhD candidate Ramiro Cassie-Sade, I guess, Shade, I don't know how they pronounce their last name, shows that electromagnetic noise from global airline and military radar is leaking into space, and aliens up to 200 light years away could hear it. I don't think that we need to worry about it. So the article is over at vice.com. Louis Prada put the article together. And this is new research out of University of Manchester. So that means if there's an alien race out there looking for radio signals from deep space, they would know that our sounds weren't just the usual creaks and squeaks of the universe. They would know that these were sounds made by intelligent creatures, mainly because of the way they are. You know they're human because of the way they are. So sending messages into space is nothing new. Humanity has been doing it intentionally and accidentally with TV, and we actually launched 2 gold-plated phonograph records into space. And we had the Arecibo satellite dish looking off into space, trying to find information, hear signals from space. They say those were very intentional messages we deliberately laced with facts of human life. Turns out we've been sending a lot more, basically just our existence. Says all of this raises concerns if you care about that kind of stuff. Like we should be screaming all of our business into the farthest reaches of space for anyone to hear, even if it's something as mundane as chatter between pilots and air traffic controllers. So I don't think that this is an issue anytime soon. Let's keep going though. The next article is about Fyre Festival. You can now buy Fyre Festival tickets, or you can now buy Fyre Festival on eBay. The actual brand is being sold on eBay. In a new Instagram post, McFarland announced his plans and quipped that it's maybe the craziest thing that they've ever done. They mean those cheese sandwiches from Fyre Fest Phase 1 might give Fyre Auction a run for its money. But I agree. Pretty unbelievable that somebody would try and sell a brand that is as stained as this is. At time of the writing, bids for Fyre Fest's iconic brand, trademarks, IP, social media assets, and more have reached $212,000, just shy of. I'm going to click the source, and that's how this works. We only have a very small snippet that's provided by the various sources that aggregate into ohmTown. And Stephen Andrew Gallagher put the article together. Billy McFarland there is selling Fyre, the brand, Fyre Fest. And they say, click here to check out the auction and make sure to pay close attention to whatever is going on behind McFarland in his Instagram clip. But I'm not going to do that. Y'all can do that on your own. It says, we've had 7-figure deal with the complete Fyre brand IP package that fell through this morning. But now the opportunity to own the Fyre brand is back on the table. So it fell through. Why would it fall through if they were supposedly at 7 digits and now it's at 215,000? Maybe it's a fire sale. The Fyre Hotels experience set to take place from September 3rd to the 10th at Coral View Utila in Honduras in the Caribbean, per a recently unveiled Fyre Hotels website. McFarland's idea for the hotel experience is rooted in the same 2013 incident that inspired him to create the Fyre Festival. It's currently unclear if Fyre Hotels experience will be impacted by the current uncertainty surrounding the brand. Yeah, I don't know. Life choices, man. Oh, pardon me. My nose is itching. The next article, though, is over in the Hatch Ideas channel, which is all about business transformation. This is a $30 Labubu doll that's become an international status symbol. It brought in $423 million for its company last year. Labubu dolls are seemingly a worldwide obsession. Here's how the toy maker's Pop Mart built the viral fashion sensation. With some celebrity luck involved. When you click that button, it takes you over to the source. Ashton Jackson put the article together. It's over at cnbc.com. These are just wild. Labubu inside the $423 million a year ugly toy craze. Yeah, I don't know. I can't. If only I could just get behind that. It's odd. So Labubu is a small monster with high pointed ears, serrated teeth, and a mischievous smile, says the Pop Mart's website. Pop Mart sells hundreds of different versions of Labubu, varying in color and level of rarity, and fans, I mean, it's the various dolls of previous iterations, various decades, I should say. Got the hiccups. More than 1 million TikTok videos mention the eerie little monsters, and they often sell out in minutes. Fans range from adult fashionistas and toy collectors to parents buying the oddly creepy doll for their toddlers. They may line up at Pop Mart stores and vending machines for hours, even traveling overseas to get their hands on them. Pop Mart brought in 13.4 billion won, or 1.8 billion US dollars in 2024 global revenue, according to the company's most recent annual results. That included the equivalent of approximately $460 million in profits. So gross 1.8 billion, profits 460 million. Roughly 423 of the company's global revenue came from Labubu dolls alone, says Emily Brow, Pop Mart's head of intellectual property licensing for the Americas. That's a 729% increase from 2023. So this is a small variety shop called Pop Mart in 2010. From Beijing, China. Its founder, Wang Ning, now 38, had a knack for retail as an advertising student in college, where he'd sell accessories to his classmates, according to Bloomberg. And the business grew steadily 2011 to 2016. Online store in 2016. Started in a mall. Pop Mart regularly partnered with artists to design and create different toys and figurines. And in 2019, it struck a deal with artist Keesing Lung, who illustrated a picture book series called The Monsters, and Labubu is the character from The Monsters. So that kind of made it blow up. Yep. Then in April 2024, Lisa Manavan, member of the K-pop band Blackpink, was spotted with a Labubu on her purse as a bag charm and started the frenzy. Boom. There's a lot more over there at the CNBC.com website in their Make It section. Ashton Jackson put the article together. Go and check it all out. There's a video too, but I'll skip right on over that. The next article, though, that's over in the Mobile Channel. Historic Grand Canyon Lodge destroyed by wildfire as blaze continues across national parks North Rim. Constructed in 1937, the lodge was one of dozens of buildings consumed by the fast-moving Dragon Bravo fire, which has raged across thousands of acres. You click that little link there and it takes you over to the source. It's over at smithsonianmag.com. Christian Thorsberg put the article together. So a firefighter stands beside the charred remains of a burned structure near the Grand Canyon Lodge. But perhaps no loss has been more historic than the Grand Canyon Lodge, which has served as the area's only hotel since 1937 and was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1987. The Grand Canyon is one of the country's most visited national parks. Throughout the lodge's nearly 90-year history, it's been a beacon for summer visitors to the park's lesser-traveled North Rim, which receives 10 times fewer travelers than the popular South Rim. The lodge sits at the end of the North Rim's only road and foregrounds visitors' first views of Arizona's geological wonder, a canyon shaped over millions of years by the Colorado River's mighty flows. And now it's gone. So, like the original blaze, the recent fire caused no injuries or casualties. Officials confirmed on Sunday that the lodge had been consumed by the Dragon Bravo fire, which was ignited by a lightning strike on July 4th and continues to burn amid windy, hot conditions. If only there was a budget for that. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Edge Ideas as well. Google has swooped in to make a $2.4 billion deal with a startup previously promised to OpenAI. Google is hiring the startup's top leadership and paying for licensing rights. When you click that link there, it takes you over to entrepreneur.com, and Sharon Shibu puts the article together. It's edited by Dan Bova. Under the deal, Windsurf CEO Varun Mohan, co-founder Douglas Chen, and a small group of other employees will join Google's DeepMind AI team. It's reportedly inked a deal of $2.4 billion with an AI coding startup, Windsurf. Google will also have a non-exclusive license to Windsurf's technology. I'm not sure why, if they're buying it, why the licensing wouldn't have been exclusive. Maybe they already have agreements. And when those agreements terminate, that's when that $2.4 billion will actually rise to the occasion. Google's not investing in Windsurf, but rather paying to hire the startup CEO Varun Mohan, co-founder Douglas Chen, and a small group of senior Windsurf staffers to work on Google's DeepMind AI team. Most of Windsurf's 250 employees will stay within the startup and focus on creating innovations for its business clients. That's what's going on. They're going to pay for the talent and licensing rights of the tech. Interesting. So they're just, wow, that is a hell of a price. But hey, if they've got the money, right? Windsurf and OpenAI had entered into an exclusivity period for the acquisition offer, which ended as of Friday. OpenAI told Bloomberg Windsurf is now able to consider other bids. OpenAI was going to acquire it for a $3 billion acquisition, but apparently, I guess, didn't close the deal. OpenAI, meanwhile, was founded in 2015 and came out with ChatGPT in 2022. The startup closed a $40 billion funding round in March at a $300 billion valuation, the biggest tech funding round on record from a private company. My God. Okay, let's keep going, though, because mergers and acquisitions and all of that kind of stuff aside, this one's over on Late Night Geeks as browser wars heat up. Here are the hottest alternatives to Chrome and Safari in 2025. The article is over at TechCrunch.com. Lauren Forrestal put the article together. So there's AI-powered browsers now. Perplexity's Comet, the browser company's Dia, Opera's Neon. OpenAI's rumored browser is supposed to be coming into play. And then there's Brave, DuckDuckGo, which are security-minded, Ladybird, security-minded, Vivaldi, which is what I use, and niche browsers like Opera Air, Sigma OS, Zen Browser. All of these have their own little niche areas or specialties or foci for them to try and be strategically advantageous in that minimum viable product, and then they amplify that with additional knock-on features as time goes on, or they decide to pivot and make it do this or that. I'm always interested in privacy and security. I don't ever say it's impossible to be breached. I say not if, but when, and then you have to be prepared to do something about it if you do get breached, if your identity gets stolen, etc. So yeah, they say to help navigate the competitive landscape of the browser wars, we've compiled, and this is TechCrunch, they've compiled an overview of some of the top alternative browsers available today. This includes browsing, leveraging AI, open source browsers that promote customization and privacy, and quote unquote mindful browsers, a new term that refers to browsers designed to enhance user well-being. So they periodically tell you, hey, you've been browsing for too long. Like my watch tells me I need to stand up. The next article is over on the mobile channel. Birdigo is Wordle meets Balatro, and they've never been more confused yet intrigued. Every now and then, Dwayne drops a game off that makes them scratch their head, and when he brings it up, Birdigo is one of those games. When they read the Wordle and Balatro description on it, they didn't know how to take it, and that's why they wanted to take a look. Well, this is Birdigo. It is out on maybe Steam? I'm not sure. Let's see. I really want Under a Rock to release. Anyway, let's see. We'll do it live. Birdigo. Oh, a bird word game. There is a download available, the demo. I might as well just download it. Why not? I'll add it to my wish list. And this is the release. It's over on Steam. I'm going to mute it. Boom, boom, Birdigo. So I guess you have to type in 5-letter words within a certain amount of time. You have to hit certain things. Oh my gosh, I just don't understand. There's certain things that you have to type in, and there's flaps and power, and I guess you have to reach a destination. Interesting. Well, okay, there's feathers and songs and wow. Okay. This is going to be interesting. Maybe I'll be able to take a look at it. Yeah, my mayoral duties kind of keep me away from being able to play games lately. I mean, it really sucks, but hey, a mayor's got to do what a mayor's got to do. And that's keep this city alive, this town. ohmTown is the name. Anyway, you can go over and check this out. It's over at Vice.com. Anthony Franklin II put this article together. It's over at Vice.com. They say throw some cards, roguelike elements, word games together, and you will, in all likelihood, get them to buy it. But at first, they couldn't wrap their head around the description in the email, and that's because they couldn't imagine what percentage of each game Birdigo would represent. When they started thinking about what it would want the percentage to be, they came to a 70% Balatro, 30% Wordle. So the description on Steam says, a word game about migrating birds inspired by Wordle and Balatro. That's not this. This is a different description, but yeah, play cards, build your deck, trigger combos, guide your flock. From John August of Corpse Bride and Corey Martin of Bonfire Peaks. All right. Yeah, I don't know where that... Yeah, assemble letter cards into words which add up into flaps to send you further along your journey. Longer words score higher, but specific combos can turn short words into powerhouses. Use enchanted feathers, letters, and songs to change the rules of the game as you go. Build up your deck and develop your own strategy in each game. You'll need to play carefully as the distance gets further each round. Stack up a massive high score and guide your flock to safety. There's a little bit more over here at Vice.com. Go over and check it all out. The next article, and it's our penultimate article, it's over on Wanted. It's one of our 6 shows And I'll take a moment to speak of that. So, because of what's been happening with me, MayorWatt, my Saturdays and Sundays are probably not going to be available for streaming in any scheduled format. So, the shows are going to be recorded throughout the week, but only posted over on YouTube. And at least that is the way that it's going to be for the foreseeable future. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I will still be posting all of the podcasts. I'm doing it today for this last weekend over to Apple Podcasts, and it gets distributed through my hosting system to all of the podcasts. Basically, I throw up broadband everywhere. If you catch Pod, you can catch ohmTown and the many podcasts. So there's 6 weekly podcasts and 1 daily podcast, but the weekly podcasts get merged into Saturday and Sunday podcasts. So essentially, Non Sequitur News is every day of the week. And then there are 6, soon to be 7, because Constructagon will be launching. They are shorter shows, 5 minutes. They're all video and posted over on YouTube. But they will stop streaming on the weekends. I won't be able to do it just because of what's been going on. So I would love to stream more, but I see the future as being tumultuous in terms of me being readily available to stream. And it started at the beginning of this summer of stream. I never even caught any wind, so I couldn't I couldn't set sail for my objective, which was to stream all summer, 8 hours plus a day. But I can't. I'm sorry. I would love to, because I love doing this kind of stuff. I love talking about the dynamic news that's out there. I don't talk about politics. I talk about science, technology, and society. I would love to have people come in and hang out and chat in YouTube and Twitch. So if you follow, you like, and subscribe, when you get a notice that I've gone live, stop in, say hi, hang out. That would be great. Well, anyway, this article is over on Wanted, but it's aggregated from somebody else. Obviously, that's how all of our articles are. Secretive Chinese satellite emerges in surprising orbit after a 6-day vanishing act. When you click that link, it takes you over to gizmodo.com. Pasant Rabi put the article together. The Xi'an 28B finally appeared in an unexpectedly low orbit, but its mission remains unclear. After nearly a week of its launch, space tracking systems were able to locate a mysterious satellite parked in an unusually low orbit. China launched the experimental satellite to test new technologies, but it's still unclear exactly what it's doing in its unique inclination. It launched on July 3rd from the Xichang, I think it's pronounced that way, Xichang Satellite Launch Center, riding on board a Long March 4C rocket. The satellite is part of China's experimental Xi'an series, reportedly designed for exploration of the space environment and to test new technologies, but I guess it's looking down at a certain region of the planet. I'm not sure. Anyway, it typically takes a day or two for space tracking systems to locate an object in orbit, but the recently launched satellite was hard to find, probably because it was way too close. It's at an 11-degree inclination, astrophysicist Jonathan McDowell wrote on Twitter. At the time of the launch, it was estimated that the satellite would be tilted at a 35-degree inclination relative to the Earth's equator. Its unusually low inclination, however, suggests that the rocket performed a dogleg maneuver, meaning that it changed direction midway through ascent, and its second stage performed 3 burns to reduce inclination, according to McDowell. So it's unclear why they did this change. China's been experimenting with new satellite technology. 2 Chinese satellites recently performed a docking maneuver for an orbital refueling experiment, which has the potential to extend the lifespan of spacecraft in orbit. Yeah. All right. And finally, Dyson's Farms remembers. This last article for the 14th, and I'm going to try to do the 15th and catch up. Dyson reveals its futuristic farming vision. It's over on the Wanted channel. Dyson, a company best known for its vacuums and hair dryers, has unveiled a new rotating farm design that aims to make food production more local, sustainable, and dependable. This is something that I've been promoting regularly. I stopped mainly because I've been so busy, and with my downtime, it's just limited. Well, anyway, Jesse Orrell over at CNET.com put this article together. Dyson unveiled a new rotating farm design. Sorry, distracted. Non sequitur, baby. Anyway, the company is also getting into the renewable energy game. Check out the video embedded in this article to find out how it all connects and what it could mean for the future of food. I've got the mayoral mansion has 6 hydroponic farm plots in a rack. And basically, I don't use any soil. All I use is a water and nutrient mix. And in a week, I can have all the lettuce that I want. Microgreens is what I grow. And so technically it's not lettuce, but it's microgreens. And they're extremely nutritious and 100% yield. Nothing goes bad in the way that predation and issues with things like fertilizer, like manure and other what do you want to call it, natural fertilizers. I'll put it to you that way. Yeah, that tends to be a problem sometimes, and you get health related issues like listeria and whatnot. Well, anyway, the company's also getting into the renewable energy game as well. So this rotating concept is not particularly new as far as I know, but it makes it easier to obtain crops. And if you still want to use sunlight and you're not doing it hydroponically inside and using grow lights and whatnot, then this would allow plants to rotate up and keep things within a small area instead of being flat and long. You can stack things in these cylinders, walk within them, and pull crop from within it. Everything is secure. There's no predation. You don't have any pests. If there is anything, you can actually deal with it in a quicker manner. You can set up cameras for close monitoring of all of your crop and maximize the yield. I think that every community should have a farm that feeds that community, mainly because they have a vested interest in food safety, food security, I should say, as well as the fact that mergers and acquisitions means that this strawberry, for instance, in the natural scheme of things, is probably owned by one corporation. And there's no real competition. But your local community could be growing strawberries all day long, and they're at a reasonable price because there's so much competition. But when nobody grows them because family farms are dying out, you get increased costs from the supplier's side. Go look at the supplier index. The supplier price index. Anyway, that's the end of today's non sequitur news for July 14th, 2025. I am MayorWatt, and I am going to get out of here. We'll see you in maybe a little bit. I don't know. I need to see if my mayoral duties are about to activate. So we'll see. I'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye.